Are you thinking about buying or selling a house or are a real estate professional and want to keep up with the Twin Cities' latest market news, stats, and trends in real estate? Then come hang out with us for a little while. Hi, I'm Kirk Duckwall, and joining me, Danielle Germundson and Chad Priebe.
How you guys doing this morning?
Good. How are you?
Good. It's good to see you guys.
Did I pronounce the last name right? I always feel like
Germundson.
Germundson.
Yep.
It's close.
Very close.
Yes.
It's a long word.
I get it a lot with my last name too. A lot of Duckwells, Duckworths come out of it sometimes.
I'm not going to tell you what people tell me or call me.
I can just imagine. So make sure you check us out online as well at TwinCitiesRealEstateShow.com. A lot of stuff we're going to be covering today, we cover in our Smart Home Buyer Guide, and today's topic is going to be home buying do's and don'ts updated. It's been a few years since I've done this show, and so feel free to interject any thoughts that you have about this experiences on it. I have my lists of recommendations from around the country, but some as well from my own personal experiences. But before we deep dive into those home buying do's and don'ts, let's chat a bit about the market. I think I summed it up when I was jokingly, naming the show, and let's just say it was a lot of asterisks that would have been in there about how our market right now. What's interesting about it is it one day it looks like, the rates are going in a good direction, showing activity picks up, and then the next day rates are going back up again, showing activity slowing down. It is interesting overall. We're actually still outpacing 2019 levels as far as just pace in the market.
Okay.
Not necessarily total homes that have sold, but just the speed of the market out there. However, we are now a little slower than we were last year at this time, where we had been tracking ahead in our market all the way up to Labor Day timeframe, and then it kind of flip-flopped. Looks like we might be on the edge of maybe overtaking last year again as far as pace, but again, it's with the interest rates, it's really tough.
Yeah, it is. Like you said, the roller coaster ride, right? It's very it's emotional for us because we take pride in this, right? And for me, it's like the first time home buyers and people that are on a limited income. It's really challenging. Mm-hmm. So, it's easy for me to say hang in there because we don't have the crystal ball. We don't know when things are going to better. But, like today, the bond market's doing pretty well. Yep. So we might see some better interest rates tomorrow. But we'll battle the storm.
I think I've got an idea. I see you got a little scruff going on this morning. I think you should do like a rate beard. Okay. So grow a beard until the rates come down.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Well, I tell you,
people on the show would know.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is like a week's worth of growth, so it'll be a while. I don't grow hair on my face too fast, but
the rate beard, love it. So, yes, the amount of buyers out in the market is slower, and does that mean it's a bad market for buyers? Well, it really kind of depends on how you're looking at it, what your options are. Realistically, and we'll deep dive into this in the next segment, but it's actually the best opportunity we've seen for buyers in 4 years.
Yes.
As the pace in the market right now, with the total inventory out there right now, we're seeing pretty hefty negotiation on properties if they just build up a few days of market time.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so it is a great opportunity, and that's why I want to do home buying do's and don'ts. I want to see the buyers get out there and take advantage of it. And everybody, it's fall. I don't want to move in the winter, right? Well, I want to wait until spring, right? I want to wait for interest rates to drop. I want to save more money, right? All these reasons not to buy. But, we were just discussing about your situation where it's like, somebody you were talking to where they could have bought a home 2 years ago and had $60,000 in equity already.
Right.
Yeah.
And they didn't take advantage of that. Well, here's an opportunity to jump in, pick up some extra ground, because when we come to the spring market out there, I think it's going to be amazing for sellers, which means it's going to be terrible for buyers.
Yes,
correct.
I agree with that.
So, okay. Activity in the marketplace, New listings did drop off week over week and in comparison to year over year. So we were looking at finishing off September the last week there. It was 1,274 down to 1,174 new listings. And that's in comparison to last year's 1,302. So it actually last year ticked up over that same period of time. So you have listings moving down, and then we also have pending sales, although up slightly, as in down slightly, down by 2 pending sales, 897 down to 895. Tracking really close, though, in comparison to last year is at 913. So the pendings are there. And one of the things I know in the mastermind conversation was that last year about this time, this is where we saw interest rates going over 7.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And that really slowed up the market
It did.
a lot.
It put the brakes on.
Yep.
Yeah. And so no big surprise. This is the first in a few weeks we've seen the inventory actually come back down a little bit. So we were at 8,779 down to 8,732. This is in comparison to last year's 9,430. So this is that, we're coming off peak here any day now. And it's going to be the lowest peak inventory we've seen.
Right.
So the advantage to buyers, it is peak inventory. You're going to have the most to choose from. We're kind of one of the highest month supply of homes. We're coming up on some of the higher days on market that we've seen in a while. This is creating that window of opportunity.
Yeah.
Out there. So if you wait too much longer, 30 to 60 days, that's going to start to diminish.
Right.
Yes.
And honestly, there is this differential in sale prices that we see in the winter, but part of it is that it's the leftover homes that didn't sell, right? And either they're going to sit and wait through the spring, which sometimes can work for a seller. It's not a bad strategy. If you can just sit tight for a few months, you wait until that inventory gets low, you're there, you're available. I mean, I saw doing some research on a property, a home going into multiple offers like a month after it listed, right? It listed in late December.
Okay.
And then ends up selling in
Yep.
late January, early February, multiple offers because the market intersected with it.
Right,
Yep.
right. So if you are listing in the winter, have patience,
Yeah.
right? Don't price drop just because you're not having activity.
This is the toughest thing for sellers and agents that we're seeing right now is appropriate expectations.
Right.
So real quick, market meter is down to a 4.04. So this is basically right on the threshold of going into a buyer's market range.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Another reason why I want to be talking about this.
Right.
So we're already seeing homes selling for under asking price on average. That's going to increase here again for the next 30, 60-ish days. And then, showings per listing average out there, I think it's 3.59. So between homes priced between 250 and 500,000, an average week they're getting 3.59 showings. So not a lot when we think about the peak market where we're getting somewhere around 10, right?
Right.
So
Yes.
we're 3 times faster out there. So and that's the longer time on market. So when we come back, we're going to do that deep dive into home buying do's and don'ts.
Yep.
And again, make sure you check us out online at TwinCitiesRealEstateShow.com and download our Smart Home Buyer and Smart Seller Guides. They're free there. Check out our market updates as well. We'll be right back. Kirk Duckwall here again with the Twin Cities Real Estate Show. Our local sponsors are BRIX Real Estate, Network Title, Eric Bloomstrand and Chad Priebe with Bell Bank Mortgage, and James Tufson with the Preserve Group.
When shopping for a mortgage, there is a formula to get the best rate. With the market today, knowing this formula is more important than ever. My name is Chad Priebe with Bell Bank Mortgage. I have over 20 years experience in the mortgage industry and in home buying education. I'd like to share this useful tool with you to help you shop for your mortgage. You can find me at chadpriebe.com or call me at 651-207-9274.
Hello, my name is James Topson with the Preserve Group. Anyone can sell you insurance. However, is it going to be the insurance you need? When life surprises pop up, you want the right coverage. When it comes time to find or renew your policy, give me a call. I would love to review your existing policy and show you what I can do for you. You can email me at james@mypreservegroup.com or give me a call at 651-728-4334.
Not every title company is the same. There are many people involved with each real estate transaction, and all of them need to be in the loop or a closing may get delayed. This is why the people at Network Title strive to provide swift scheduling and communication between the buyers, sellers, agents, and lenders. We know moving can be stressful, however, your closing does not need to be. Check us out online at network-title.com.
People always ask realtors, what is your commission? But what they should be asking is, what is your rate of return? Commissions only vary by a couple of percent from agent to agent. However, the price per square foot you get just based on their experience and the quality of marketing they use can vary by 10% or more. At BRIX Real Estate, our agents use the right marketing and have the experience to get you top dollar for your house. See what we can do for you at BRIXTwinCities.com. Welcome back to the Twin Cities Real Estate Show. Today, Danielle and Chad in studio. Thank you guys for coming in.
Thanks for
Thank you,
inviting
Kirk.
us.
Deep dive here into home buying do's and don'ts. It's been a couple of years since we've done this show. And why is it as interest rates are at 8%, I want to do a show about buying? And it's because it's the best opportunity we've seen. So I'm going to start this segment off with, and feel free to, when you have a thought on do's and don'ts, jump in with it as well. But don't miss this opportunity to buy a house, because it will cost you, right? What we're seeing as far as how our spring market is setting itself up, it looks to be that it's going to be very strong for sellers, which means we'll see probably pretty decent appreciation again in the spring. However, right now we have, because of where rates are and because of where inventory is, that we've created this opportunity for buyers to go in and negotiate, go in and not be in heavy multiple offers. Again, because it is the inventory out there is dispersing the people. Now, does that mean that every home, every house isn't going to have multiples? No, there's still multiples. I sold a listing this weekend in multiple offers, but there's a lot more. It's not like where we were seeing 60, 70% of homes going into multiple offers over the last couple of years. Now it might be 10%. Right. And so that's leaving 90% of the houses out there as these opportunities. And some people, it's the bad houses. No, it's the houses that may be priced a little too high to begin with.
Right.
It's the houses, and that's a great myth to dispel right away, right? I don't want to go look at a house if it's priced too high because then I'm going to pay too much. No, you're going to negotiate, right? And homes that overprice and have to do a price adjustment, on average, end up selling for like 5% less than what their competition does. Right. Okay. So you have these opportunities out there right now. So best market in 4 years.
Right.
Yeah. Best market in 4 years, right?
Buyer opportunity.
Yep. Yeah. Now, again, the rates are too high. Okay, buy for what you can afford. This has never changed. Right. Buy for what you can afford and plan to refinance.
Yes.
Right.
Have a plan in place.
I was talking to a first-time home buyer before the show, and I would expect nothing different than what he told me. He said, I was told by my mom and dad to wait until the rates come down. I said, gosh, that makes sense in some cases. I said, but look at this. I said, the house that I just ran numbers for you on, if you would have bought that 24 months ago, let's do the appreciation calculation.
Yep.
Here's what would have happened in equity position for you. Okay. And I told him, I said, I'm not doing this to poke at you, but I want to show you what home ownership can do for you. And within 2 years, it was about $40,000 in equity.
Yep.
So I said, I understand where your parents are coming from with the higher interest rates. It's tough for people with affordability. And this may sound cheesy, but you date the rate and marry the house. You find that house that works for you right today, okay? And for the next couple of years.
Rent is still 100%. And nobody can argue, 8%, It's way better than 100%. You're not getting
Yes.
any equity. You're not. Your money isn't paying down anything
Right.
with rent.
Exactly.
So, where do you start building that wealth, right? And when do you start? I remember, having one of our attendees of our class, and he waited 2 or 3 years, even though we advised not. When we walked through, this is what your house would be worth today had you bought 3 years ago. This is what it would be worth today had you bought 2 years ago, 1 year ago. And he's like, oh, why didn't I? Why didn't I? I said, you can't change your decisions you made, but what you can do is stop it from happening.
Right.
More, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And go find. And that was kind of the boot.
Right.
That was like, okay, it's time to take advantage of this, because in a year, when we see the appreciation that's going to happen in the spring market, then it's going to cost you that much more.
Right.
Yeah.
The thing is if you buy a house today and you're able to, let's say, negotiate it down, from a 350 listing down to 325, 317, whatnot. Yeah, you're at 8%. But next year, if rates go down to 6, or 5, you refinance it.
Yes.
And you have a house that you purchased for 325, 317, whatever.
Right.
But now, if you waited, that same home, because rates went down and the competition went way up and inventory was really low, now that same house is at 375.
Right.
Right.
20,
Right.
30, 40 grand more.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not even including the appreciation that might happen throughout the course of that year. So
Right.
this is where it is so important to look at the opportunity, take advantage of it, right?
Yeah.
This is, people take the time for investing in their retirement. Take the time, think about this as a financial decision.
Absolutely.
Love
Because
that
it
you just
is.
said that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is.
You plan
is.
for your
Yeah.
retirement, plan for your home buying,
Yeah.
Home buying should
Invest
be
in
fun.
yourself.
Don't get me wrong. Should be fun.
Yeah.
It's way more fun when you know you're making smart decisions.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even for the folks in the 80s, like, my parents, they had 15% interest. But I tell you what, my dad and my mom would tell me, I'm so glad we bought a house, because that funded the next house. It
Yep.
funded the next house. They retired early, right? My mom and dad are blue collar, they worked hard, right? But they didn't have the huge 401ks and pensions. So
Right.
through that real estate channel and equity, they got to retire early.
Well, yeah,
Yep.
I mean, 50, 60,000 bought the house for, in the early 80s. And by the early 90s, you were up into the mid hundreds or low 100s into the mid 100s at least, right?
Yes.
That's a pretty good gain over
is.
that,
Huge.
over that period of time.
Yep.
Right? So, yeah, buy smart. So don't miss this opportunity. Next thing I want to jump on is shop for a mortgage. Now, what
Yeah.
do I mean by that?
Absolutely.
Think about it, plan for it, have discussions. When you shop for a couch, you go sit down in it. Usually, you go check the thing. You test drive, right? When you shop for a mortgage, get some example scenarios. See what your real costs will be.
Yeah.
Don't just be like, oh, well, they said they had the best rate, or I called 3 places and this one had the best rate. No, that's rate shopping, and basically you're doing it backwards, right? Because that's an equals rate. What's
Right.
the formula to get to that rate? Because that's how you actually get the best rate.
Exactly.
Right?
Yes.
Figure out that formula. What type of property? What term? What's the credit scenario that you're using? What's your down payment that you're doing? How are you dealing with closing costs?
Yep.
Do you have time to do some corrections for credit to maybe improve upon that? It's not just I'll just get it when I need it.
No.
Shop.
No.
Shop.
For your options.
Right?
Yeah.
Talk through it.
Yep.
Figure it out. Something like, the average American spends more time shopping for a TV than they do for their mortgage. A $300 thing versus a $300,000 thing. Like,
That's
come on. Again,
Yeah.
take your time, because it can save you. I mean, I know with the proper planning and proper shopping, I got a mortgage where had I stayed there for the term of the loan, I would have saved $130,000, $120,000, somewhere in there in interest.
Yeah.
Now, that said, I didn't stay the whole term, but I was able to pay it down faster, and which ultimately I still did I think I calculated I probably saved $25,000, $30,000 in interest at least.
I'm sure.
So,
yeah.
Adds up quickly.
Right.
Right.
Think about it. Plan it. It will help you out.
I want to piggyback on that real quick. And something I've learned recently is open your, like as a loan officer, you can't be one way, right? You have to look at all of products because there's hidden little nuggets out there nowadays that if you're not looking, you're not going to find them. So what I had learned is Minnesota housing, right? We think that's a down payment assistance loan. You can do Minnesota housing loan and not do the down payment assistance piece. And what I'm finding out through research is sometimes Minnesota housing interest rates are more competitive than the standard rates, right? So there's income caps on those programs, but if you're not looking as a loan officer, you're not going to know. So you have to work with someone that is looking and looking out for you on what products they're offering you.
Yes.
That's huge.
Options. It's all about the options with financing.
I don't think I'm going to make it through all of these today. Otherwise, we'll just keep going and going.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot, right?
Search sites. When you're shopping, you should know what you're shopping for, right? Hey, I'm going to go out and make Italian food tonight. Why am I in the Spanish food section, right?
Right.
But what I mean by that is when you're shopping for a home, you want to have your criteria. You want to know what you're buying. This is that home buyer priority checklist we talk about. Yeah. And again, home buyer priority checklist, I'm not going to deep dive into that, but it's one of the best things you can do if you truly trust yourself, you know, that will help your home search and help you be successful in your home search. But when you do that, you want to create a search and use the right searching tools. Right. So often, the big national sites are just running behind. I mean, I guarantee that they do not have all the listing data that is available, right?
Right.
That it gets parsed out through their search parameters what they allow up on there and what they don't. So what I do is I set somebody up, one, with the Home Spotter app, right? That's one. But even that's not going to have everything. It's going to be real time. It's nice, right? Yeah. But then as far as like all the data available, I get them set up on the MLS search, right? The key is to talk with your agent and figure out those parameters and now that tool, I think on the consumer side, they can actually do adjustments, add their own searches and things like that. That's going to be real time. What's available? As soon as an agent hits enter in a price reduction, boom, it changes. You're notified. Or as soon as they hit enter a new listing, you have it. Right. And so trust the tools that your agent is recommending, and hopefully they're recommending the one home and a Home Spotter and stuff like that. I know people get set in their ways and they want to just be on Zillow and they think it's the latest and greatest. Keep in mind, it is a brokerage out of Seattle. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Okay. Countless times I see properties in statuses that are just not showing up. I've done videos about it in the past where I'll pull it up on our MLS. Here's the house. Pull it up on a national site. Nope, not there.
Right.
That's...
or it's sold.
Yeah. Well,
right.
6 months
ago.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorites that there's people get frustrated when I say, "Oh, that house is sold." Mm-hmm. But you want to know what frustrates them even more? I see a house that you're not. They're like, "What?" Right. Like, "Yep, I'm seeing these." Yeah. Well, why am I not? Because you're not using the tool I gave you, right? Yeah. Use these tools to find homes. You want to make sure you have the most opportunity, the most to choose from, and you want to make sure that you use the right search sites. So that is really important.
Yeah. Don't look at the wrong homes while the right one's selling.
Yep.
Right.
Don't be looking at the wrong homes while the right ones are selling. Yep. Yeah. Okay. Let's see here. Where do we want to finish up on this?
I think having realistic expectations is very important too.
Yeah, that's a big one, Danielle, for sure. Yeah. And kind of that piggybacks on the priority checklist, right? If you go into this with the mindset, I'm just going to look at everything and I'll figure it out. Well, we talk about this in our classes.
Yeah, when nobody goes onto the car lot and says, whatever, I don't care. I'm going to test drive this one. I'm going to test drive this one. No, you know what you're looking for. Right. You're not shopping for a pickup truck usually and test driving minivans.
Not often.
No. And also, trust yourself when you like a home.
Yeah.
Right?
Be open.
Right? Again, you don't see somebody test drive a car and be like, well, It's priced right, drives awesome, smells good, but I want to test drive every other car on the lot first.
Right.
And then gets mad when the car is sold.
Right, and that happens.
Right? Nobody
And that's
does.
a reality.
Right?
That's reality.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
right. So trust yourself. I mean, that's the thing about using good search sites is that you should be able to look at 100 homes, 150 homes online and go out and look at 10, 20, somewhere in there, whatever, and choose one, and you found something that you probably really like.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, it's not that something better is going to come along usually. It's something different is going to come along.
That's correct.
One thing I like too, and I've learned this from you guys, spec it out before you check it out.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I talk to people a lot about that is if you're going to do some window shopping on Zillow or whatever other website, that's fine. Take the address, plug it into the county website, do a GIS view of it, take a look at the neighbors. Maybe there's a grain elevator or a trip railroad. You know, we talk about this
the
often.
apartment building across the street or
Yeah.
the fire station or a
Right.
highway in the backyard.
Yep.
I do that because I find it fun. You know, like, so if I'm working with a client, I actually do that just to say,
I do
hey,
that on
did you
every
guys look
listing.
at the GIS view? You might notice there's a park close by or whatever. You
Yep.
know, you don't know until you do it.
Exactly. That's
I
very
recommend
good.
that for sure.
Yes.
Well, any other thoughts on do's and don'ts?
Well, don't go out and buy, if you are pre-approved for a mortgage.
I know where this is going.
And this has just happened to a client of mine. And you know, they went out and bought a truck, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh.
a couple weeks before closing, and the truck payment was, you know, almost as much as a mortgage payment, and they no longer qualified,
Yep.
right? So we made it happen. We had the truck refinanced into that person's dad's name, and then we closed the loan. But boy, was that stressful,
Oh,
Yeah.
right? So what I try to do is train my clients. Hey, if you want to buy furniture for your new home, or if you have to make a purchase, just give me a call first.
Absolutely.
I'm going to run the numbers and the payment to make sure you still qualify, because that is something that I've seen over the years,
Yep.
and it doesn't work. And guess what? You're out your earnest money. You're out a lot of money and time.
yeah.
That's
So,
very important, Chad.
Very important. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I know in the class, what do I say? I say, do get your loan officer everything they ask for. Don't not get your loan officer. what they
No, I
ask for.
appreciate that. I appreciate
Like, get
that.
them the documents, and then don't go out buying a bunch of furniture.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good spot to end.
Yeah.
For today.
Good show.
Yeah. Thanks again, guys, for coming in.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks
it.
for having us, Kirk.
Please check out the TwinCitiesRealEstateShow.com. There you can download our smart home buyer and smart seller guides. A lot of what we covered in there and a ton more that we didn't.
Yeah.
So
Good
take
stuff.
care. Don't forget to check us out online anytime at TwinCitiesRealEstateShow.com. There you can find all of our past shows, our weekly market updates, along with the latest and greatest searching and researching tools, and our free publications to include the Smart Home Buyer Guide and the Smart Seller Guide, along with the BRIX Report. All of these free for you. If you have any real estate questions, please feel free to give us a call, 651-303-0019. Again, 651-303-0019. Happy to help answer any of your real estate questions or assist with your real estate needs.